Welcome to Ancient Greece, Lesson 1, Geography and the Early Greeks. As we start going into Ancient Greece, today we're going to talk about how geography, how landforms, oceans, seas, mountains, shaped the way that Greece formed as a nation. Greece is a peninsula, land with water on three sides. Florida is a peninsula. In Florida, we have the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean that surrounds us. Greece also had very similar things. The Ionian Sea is to the west. The Aegean Sea is in the east. In these waters are hundreds of islands. The islands are covered with mountain ridges, hills, and forests. This geography helped shape Greek history. The nearby sea led many ancient Greeks to fish or build boats. Others sailed across the sea to trade goods with other lands. The nearby mountains and rocky soil made farming a challenge. However, warm, mild weather made it possible to grow wheat, barley, olives, and grapes. Greece has something that's called a very temperate climate. That means that even in the wintertime, it doesn't get very cold, and in the summertime, it doesn't get very hot. So it's usually between 40 and 80 degrees all year round. Greece's seas and mountains also shaped its society. They divided the land. Early Greek communities became isolated from each other, but this made them stronger. They became independent. So when we think of ancient Greece, we need to think about a group of city-states. They were called polises. We'll get more into that later. But we need to think of a collection of city-states more like Mesopotamia instead of one big country that was ruled by one emperor or one king, like in China. If you look at all the dots on the map, you'll see each of the individual city-states. The Mycenaeans first came from Central Asia. In 1900 BC, they invaded the Greek mainland and conquered its people. So these were the people who were in Greece before the Greeks. In the late 1800s BC, the ruins of a walled palace were discovered in Mycenae. Long ago, a palace stood at the center of each Mycenaean kingdom. Built on a hill, each palace lay near farms and estates. These lands belonged to the nobles. Slaves and farmers lived there. The palace was home to artisans, government officials, and civic life. Minoan traders soon visited Mycenae from Crete. Crete is the island just south of the Greek mainland. The Mycenaeans learned much from the Minoans. They learned bronzeworking, shipbuilding, navigation, and religion. Around 1400 BC, they replaced the Minoans as the major power on the Mediterranean. However, 300 years later, earthquakes and infighting destroyed their civilization. Between 1100 BC and 750 BC was the Dark Age. Farmers grew only enough to feed their families, so there was no surplus food. Poverty set in. Overseas trade slowed down. Craft skills died out. Teachers stopped teaching, and Greeks forgot their written language. During the Dark Age, thousands of Greeks moved to islands in the Aegean Sea. Still others moved to Asia Minor, to what is now Turkey. This expanded Greek culture. So essentially, because things were so bad, people began to move around. But because people began to move around, that meant that the culture of these people spread around. And as things got better, the Greek society, the Greek civilization, would be spread further. Over time, Greek farmers grew more food. Traders came into contact with new ways of writing. The idea for a Greek alphabet came from the Phoenicians to the east. The new, simpler alphabet helped the Greeks revive reading, writing, and storytelling. So just to review, geography played an important role in shaping the history of Greece. Because they were surrounded on three sides by water, they became very good at trading, especially by ship, and they built up strong navies. The mountainous regions in Greece divided the city-states, which made them strong and independent, but also limited their ability to farm, which also made it a necessity for them to be good at trading. Also, they borrowed their written language from the Phoenician alphabet. Well, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.